Hello, welcome back to Mining Network. I'm joined with Sherman Dole over at Outcrop Silver and Gold Corp. Sherman, good to see you.
Nice to see you, Peter.
Good. Let's just kick things off really briefly with company overview. What's your ticker? Where are the projects located? That type of thing.
Sure. So Outcrop Silver and Gold is listed on the TSXV. Symbol is OCG. Outcrop Silver and Gold is one of the more exciting silver exploration stories listed in Canada, with the Santa Ana property in Colombia, which is the primary property. It's a very exciting high-grade silver property. A lot of investors are looking for high-quality silver projects. And, I was attracted to the story and started working with the company in the last couple of years, primarily because of the focus on silver and also because of the high quality of the people that are involved. One of the lead investors was Eric Sprott, who owns about 16% of the company. It's also ran by a very capable CEO, Joe Hebert, who's got many years of experience working for majors and also working in Colombia. They also recently attracted one of the vice presidents of exploration from the Lundin Gold group of companies. So it's in a jurisdiction that we really like. Colombia is consistently ranked in the top in Latin America. So just very high quality, high grade silver projects in good jurisdictions, which, I might add are very strongly supported at the community level, which is really important when you're going to do business in Colombia, is that the community first has to be really pro-mining, and then it, of course, moves to the national level, but the community local level is critical in Colombia. So we've got a great jurisdiction, focus on silver and high grade, which is also really important because as you might be aware with Outcrop, these are narrow vein systems, which is not uncommon in these sorts of deposits. So with the narrow vein, the high grade is really important. So, excellent projects in a good jurisdiction run by very good people and available at a good price.
Okay, sounds good. Let's first take a step back from the projects and
Sure.
the people and the team. And what's the corporate profile and the capital structure looking like at the moment? Sort of market cap, cash in the bank, that sort of thing.
Sure. Well, right now we've got about 160 million shares outstanding, fully diluted is about 240 million shares if you take in all the warrants. So that implies a market cap of about 28 million Canadian at the current share price of 18 cents. Cash in the bank is we're right in the middle of, we just announced financing, which is already oversubscribed. We haven't closed it, but the financing that we put up on the ticker was 3 million, and it looks very strong. It's a very attractive financing with a 15-cent unit, so it's a 15-cent common share with a full warrant at 22 cents, and with the three years on the. So the timing's very good. I mean it's. I'm not sure if it's the cheapest financing the company has ever done, but it's got to be pretty close. I mean, in the last year, the stock has seen highs or the last couple of years, the stock has been as high as 80 cents. So with the current markets and so the stock is trading around that 20-cent level with the financing being done at 15 cents.
Okay, so potentially a good time for people to maybe get involved. But okay, so you're raising 3 million at the moment. Right. Canadian? Okay. It's early stage exploration, but you have been doing a lot of drilling. I say it's early stage exploration. Maybe talk us through the last couple of years since you've owned the assets, because you've done
Sure.
a lot of drilling actually up until this point, haven't you?
Outcrop has. They've been very aggressive. It's what 48,000 meters of drilling. I think approximately about 300 holes that have been drilled, which is starting to point towards a resource of 40 to 50 million ounces of silver equivalent, which is significant. If we start comparing that to other stories in the space like Vizsla or BlackRock Silver, and you start comparing the market caps, 28 million is very low. So I think, Outcrop over the last couple of years is just, they've had 3 drill rigs running consistently, and they continue to drill as we speak. And so Outcrop is going to have a resource announcement this year. So what that resource is looking like is around 40 to 50 million ounces of silver. Now that's not 43-101, but soon to be. It's also very encouraging that the metallurgically studies are also well advanced. I think 3 out of 4 of the studies. So, I mean, all the boxes are kind of checked. And so it's earlier stage, but at the same time, that's a lot of, it's not like we're raising money to start a drill program. The company's raising money to essentially get it over the finish line in terms of the resource and be able to continue to drill. Because
this is actually what I wanted to touch on next, was actually the use of proceeds with this 3 million. Because like I said, you're sort of at this point now where you need to get the resource out, sort of show everyone what you actually have in the ground, right?
Right.
And then I assume the drilling isn't going to stop either.
The drilling is not going to stop. I'm not sure it's going to be 3 drill rigs, because there's going to have to be some focus, put to the resource. Mm-hmm. But at least 1 to 2 drill rigs are going to continue to run to test. In addition to that, the middle part of where all the drilling's been done, because of the 16 kilometers of veins in this system. Evidenced by historic mines, so those they're also going to continue to do step out holes. I think some of the most recent results, which are very high grade, are actually kilometer step outs. So not only it sounds very exciting, because you've got the 45-50 million ounces of already defined, and then they're still using the current drill programs to kind of step out, and the 3 million to your point is to get the company to the resource estimate. Mm-hmm. And continue to drill and work until probably February of 2023.
Okay, so a fair amount of time.
Yeah.
You're talking about quite a large land package here, and you're doing these long step outs. But obviously, from my understanding, it's fairly narrow vein but high grade.
Correct.
Which is good. How close proximity are the veins in general? Have you got an idea of? Because obviously, if the veins are too far apart, it could then cause a little bit more of a headache in terms of actually getting it out of the ground and sort of putting it all through the same mill, for example.
That's a good question. I mean, it's a little bit out of my comfort zone from a geological point of view, but if we look at one of the historic mines that I do know about, is called Les Frias mine, which I think shut down in 1907. That mine was, approximately about a kilometer of overall size and produced almost 7 to 8 million ounces of silver. So Santa Ana's probably got 13 different veins that would be lookalikes to that historic mine. And then if we look at the totality of those 13, right now it's coming in about 4.9 million ounces of silver for every kilometer of strike. So there's, say 13 vein systems. They're all kind of collected in a very large 16 kilometer package, which includes some of those historic mines. So I'm not quite sure exactly how close the veins are, but reasonably close. I mean, it's a system of various veins that are, hosting this silver, and primarily silver and gold deposit. And
what does it look like in terms of the depth of sort of the high grade portions that you're finding? Does it start at surface? Or obviously you're called Outcrop, so that suggests to me that there's some surface mineralization. But sort of what sort of depths are we looking at here?
Well, you're 100% right. I mean, it is outcrop. I mean, it does start at surface and goes down to, as much as 500 meters. Although I don't know the exact depths, but it definitely starts at surface, which is what we were talking about at the beginning. Was, that's what makes Colombia attractive. There's not a lot of places where you're still finding outcrop, and Colombia is one of those frontier areas. So it starts at surface and continues down, and I think it continues to be open, in terms of the depth. So lots of, this is one of the key questions we got from an institution today was what's the exploration potential? Yeah, you've got 50 million ounces, but it's pretty big. I mean, I think for this deposit, to move towards 100 million ounces, which is what the larger companies are going to be looking for, is very real. So lots of exploration potential, both ways and at depth. So kind of open in all directions for further vein systems.
Good. And you spoke about metallurgy earlier. You said three of the 4 have come back. Have you actually had any of the actual results back in terms of what the processing methods might be, or sort of what sort of recoveries you might have?
We do. The company internally does have, like I said, 3 or 4 of the metallurgical work is done. All I can say, just because of my limited knowledge from metallurgical, is that it looks very good. Is what the geologists and what the company is giving guidance for, and no concerns. And leaning towards the good side of the met studies, which of course is going to be, revealed in the in the resource. But at this point, there's going to be. I think it's looking very positive on the met. The whole project is kind of checking all the boxes in terms of the metallurgical and the grades and how the whole system is holding together.
And you've got 5 projects at the moment that you're working on.
Correct.
What's the potential for further M&A in the region? Are you happy with the 5 that you have? Are you going to just be focusing on them, or are you looking to expand your current position?
Pretty happy with the projects that the company has. In conversations with Joe Haber, who's the chief executive officer, clearly the focus is Santa Ana, but he's very well versed in all the other projects. Some were vended in, some were actually staked, all very prospective.
And just to cut in, do you own all of the projects 100% outright?
Yes, we do.
You do?
Yeah, 100%. And so I think part of the focus is going to be looking at joint venture possibilities of the other projects, because clearly with the success that they've had at Santa Ana, the focus is going to continue to be Santa Ana. And as we all know, we got limited funds in these capital markets. So the $3 million raise and those use of proceeds are to focus on Santa Ana. So it makes complete sense that Joe's and the team is going to look at doing other strategic things with those other properties.
No, I think that makes sense. I guess looking at, just to round this up, what does the next couple of months look like? Do you still have assays outstanding from the drilling that you're doing, or are you expecting more drill results over the next couple of months? And obviously, can you just give us a bit more clarity on when this resource might be due as well?
Sure. I think it's all of the above. They've had a pretty aggressive drill program, so there will be more assays pending because the drills are still running. They're not running 3 drill rigs like they were, because now they're in the middle of getting this financing done. Not quite sure exactly how many assays are coming, but there are more results pending for sure. And in terms of the timing of the resource, the guidance that the company is giving is going to be this year. So fourth quarter of this year is the expectation, is it'll be out this year. So very unlikely that the company is going to be targeting December. So I would think November was when that's when I would expect to have a resource, which I think is going to be a real inflection point I think that's when people are going to really start to pay attention to this story.
With say, obviously it's still fairly early stage, you need to get the resource out, and then there's economic studies and whatnot, but just say you are a long-term investor and you're looking at this and you want to understand the possibility of mining and actually getting this ore out of the ground and making it economic. Are there any examples internationally where this sort of narrow vein sort of mining process is sort of successful that you can sort of emulate? Is there anything like it?
Well, there's actually, it's a great question, and there's a number of them. Probably the ones that come to mind is in Mexico is Las Chipas with Silvercrest, and also in China, Silvercorp has their narrow vein system, which is using very interesting technology in terms of mining the narrow vein systems. So there's a number of deposits. Vizsla's doing the same in Mexico. And those are the ones that really come to mind for me.
Awesome. All right. Well, lots of good news flow to come out, and you've had a pretty exciting summer with all the drilling you've had as well, with some very good results. So we'll keep on top of it, and thank you for your time.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks, Peter.
Thank you.